Drug bust. Authorities seize another 220 kilograms of cocaine from the container yard in Orugodavatta. Finance Minister explains raising taxes on internet services.
Telecom ආයතන අපිට එක කතා කරන අවස්ථාවේදී කිව්වා මොකක් voice වලින් මේ data වලට මාරු වෙනවා කියලා. ඉතින් ඒකට යනකොට ආදායම ශීඝ්‍රයෙන් අඩු වෙනවා කියලා. ඉතින් ඒක වෙනසක් සමමත්තම කරන්න කියන එක තමයි.
Minister of Agriculture extends an invitation to Andra Kumar Dissanayake to join his ministry as a consultant. SLFP recommends appointment of Presidential Commission to investigate bond scandal. Good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandru Ferdinando.
And I'm Aishwarya Pinto. Let's start off with a look at the stories in detail. 220 kilograms of cocaine was discovered inside a container carrying a consignment of sugar at the customs container yard in Orugodavatta today.
The haul of cocaine, which was found inside a container that arrived in the country on the 14th of October via Brazil and Portugal, was uncovered by Sri Lanka Customs and the Sri Lanka Police Anti-Narcotic Bureau. 200 packets of cocaine sealed in 8 bags were found close to the entrance of the container.
මෙම හෙරොයි කොකේන් කිලෝ 200 වටිනාකම බිලියන 2කට අධික ප්‍රමාණයක් වෙනවා. නීතිමය ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගැනීම සඳහා පොලිස් මන්ත්‍රාලය පාලනාංශයට බාර දෙනවා.
මේක කලිනුත් ගෙනාපු සමාගමක් විසින්මද මේක ගෙනත් තියෙනවා.
මේ සමාගමේ අහුවෙලා නැහැ. නමුත් අපි පරීක්ෂා කරලා බලනවා මේකට සම්බන්ධයක් තියෙනවද කියලා.
Over the past few months, there were a number of instances where cocaine was smuggled into the country in the guise of sugar. 31 kilograms of cocaine was discovered with the help of the Police Anti-Narcotic Bureau on the 9th of October in the custom yard in Patiagoda, Kalaniya. On the 22nd of July, a stash of cocaine valued at 4 billion rupees was discovered at a container yard in Patiagoda. The 273 kilogram haul of cocaine was believed to be one of the largest hauls ever discovered in the country. 25 kilograms of cocaine was discovered from a container carrying sugar from Brazil on the 14th of June. Teams of investigators opined that the reason for using sugar to conceal the cocaine is the similarity in texture and appearance.
These people who are in the cocaine industry, they abuse the system. These sugar shipments come from Brazil to Sri Lanka via Portugal. They abuse this cargo, transshipment process to transport cocaine from Brazil to Portugal. However, there are certain instances where ship does not stay there even for 24 hours. When the ship does, the transshipment period there is less than 24 hours, people who import cocaine to Portugal, they find no time to unload their stuff. If the importer involves in this cocaine business, he will not pack the cocaine just at the forefront of the container. When you open the container, how they found it, at the very front, you find among the white sugar bags, some brown bags of cocaine. If the importer is involved, he will pack cocaine inside the sugar bag at the very end, bottom bag. That's how the smugglers normally behave.
An organized group using Sri Lanka as a safe haven and also the sugar trade is carrying out a large-scale racket. Therefore, the person who is involved in this and the one who is responsible for bringing sugar to the country should be held responsible. Or the ones who sell this sugar should be held responsible. Close to 1,000 kilograms of cocaine has been nabbed in the country over the past few years. This is only a part of a large-scale racket. The only thing we see is them being nabbed. We don't know how much cocaine is already in circulation. Our country also has representatives of this large-scale international trade. Therefore, the ones who are responsible in Sri Lanka should be arrested. Stringent laws should be adopted and steps must be taken to stop this.
Minister of Finance Ravi Karanayake convened a media briefing at the ministry premises today where attention was drawn towards the budget proposals.
Should it be increased, the Ministry of Transport and Police will make the other amendments, be it to increase or reduce the fines.
දැන් මේ වමෙන් මේවා කරන එක ප්‍රවාහන ඇමති තමයි ඒක ගෙනාවේ.
I have no issue on that. It was presented by the Minister of Transport. He said that 7 to 8 accidents occur daily, resulting in deaths. He added that over 48,000 accidents take place each year and it needs to be prevented. If 8 deaths are reported daily, we need to enforce the law to put a stop to that.
දවසකට 7-8 දෙනෙක් මරනවා නම් ඒ මැරීම නැවැත්වීමට අඩු කරන්න පුළුවන් ගේ නීති ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා නම්
මේ දඩ වලින් කොච්චර බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවද
අපිට ඒක අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. දඩේ නෙමෙයි අපට අවශ්‍ය.
We do not require the fines. We do not include it in the revenue calculations.
නැහැ.
Provisions for the provincial councils was elaborated at the event.
2017
Compared to 2016, for 2017, we have made several reductions. There were unnecessary expenses like going to Russia and China. The central government has taken the measure to put a stop to these expenses. The President called for suggestions following discussions with the Prime Minister. He will prioritize certain allocations.
අගමැතිතුමාත් සමග සාකච්ඡා කළා අපි යම් දේවල් ප්‍රමුඛත්වය ලබා දෙන්නම් කියලා.
The minister also responded to allegations made against the alleged privatization of the payment platform.
හිටපු ජනාධිපති බොහොම හොඳට පෙනෙනවා කරපු දේවත් නොදන්නා මිනිසෙක් ලෙස.
The former president appears as he is not aware of what he did. ICTA was an institute that was created during his government and 100% owned by the finance minister. He is saying that it is being privatized.
ඒකට බාර දුන්නාම පුද්ගලිකරණයට යොමු කරනවා කියනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ එහෙනම් එතුමා දන්නේ නැහැ එතුමා කරපු දේ. නැත්තම් මේ වගේ කියන්න හැකියාවක් තියෙනවා.
ඒක ජනාධිපතිවරයා අනුතුරු ලැබීමක් කළ තිබ්බා හම්බන්තොට කරාය සහ මත්තර ගුවන්තොටුපොළ ගන්නෙන ආයෝජකයින්ට මේ නැවත ලබා ගැනීමක් කරනවා කියලා ඒව ආයෝජනය කළොත්.
ඉතින් එන්නේ නැති ගමනකට කොහොමද මොනවා කිව්වත් වැඩක් තියෙනවා.
එමතුමා මේ අන්තර්ජාල බදු වැඩි කරන්නට මේ පාර අයවැයෙන් තීරණය කළා මොකක්ද මේකේ අරමුණ?
ඒක ටෙලිකොම් ආයතන අපිත් එක්ක කතා කරන අවස්ථාවේදී කිව්වා voice වලින්.
During discussions with Telecom, it was noted that a majority have shifted from voice lines to data lines. When this shift takes place, the revenue drops drastically. We need to have a balance, and what we have done is what is being done in other countries as well.
සාමාන්‍ය අන්තර්ජාලයේ රුපියල් 100ක් data bundle එකකට රුපියල් 50ක විතර බද්ද මේ සමග ගෙවන්න වෙනවා.
කීයද ඉස්සලා තිබ්බේ?
How much was it earlier? 48 rupees was increased to 50. Did anyone say anything when it was 48 rupees? This is a minor increase.
The expenditure heads of 4 ministries, namely Agriculture, Plantation Industries, Mahavali Development and Environment, and Irrigation and Water Resource Management, were taken up for debate in Parliament today. Here are some of the views expressed during the debate on the expenditure heads of the Agriculture Ministry.
The Agriculture Ministry has a very strong institutional structure, but in spite of this existing system, another agriculture unit has been established at the Presidential Secretariat. This unit makes various decisions and burdens this on the Agriculture Ministry. Ratanathero is part of this. Ratanathero went to Moravawa and asked the farmers there to fearlessly cultivate the traditional paddy. They cultivated, but afterwards, the Ayurveda Corporation said that they can only purchase 38,000 kilos each season. The farmers' paddy has been stockpiled in their homes for more than 5 months now. Who took the decision to ban the weedicide glyphosate? You must explain this. Did the Agriculture Ministry decide to ban this weedicide? Did the Director of Agrochemicals in our country decide to ban it? Without any input from the Agriculture Ministry, the unit at the Presidential Secretariat meets, various decisions are made there, and these are burdened on the Agriculture Department. Do not misguide the Agriculture Ministry in this way. The Agriculture Department employs the most number of people with doctorates in this country. The corn harvest has reduced and the paddy harvest will also reduce. Other agricultural produce will also fall as a result of this arbitrary intervention.
අපේ රටේ අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම වියස්සන්න අඩු වෙනවා. අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම අපේ රටේ අනිකුත් ගොවි නිෂ්පාදනයන්ගේ පහළ වැටීමක් සිද්ධ වෙනවා. මේ අයථා මැදිහත් වීමේ ප්‍රතිඵල හේතු කොටගෙන.
I invite you as a former Minister of Agriculture to come as a consultant to the Agriculture Ministry and support us in strengthening the system. I extend this invitation to you. Toxin-free agriculture is truly a revolution in Sri Lanka. This is true socialism. This is the true national economy. We were able to accomplish this in the past. This is why we criticize the previous government.
The opposition alleged in Parliament today that funds have not been allocated through the budget for the fertilizer subsidy.
The fertilizer subsidy has not been included in the expenditure heads. As we did last year, this year too, the ministry has allocated 35 billion rupees for it. In 2015, 49 billion rupees was spent on the fertilizer subsidy. In truth, There is no mention at all of the fertilizer subsidy in these estimates.
While 35 billion rupees was allocated for the fertilizer subsidy last year, this year we will need only about 20 billion for the fertilizer subsidy. All of the remaining money is being used for debt repayments. We must meet these debt repayments within 180 days.
We have spent 37 billion on the fertilizer subsidy. The interest amounts to 17 billion. The government does not have money, so we purchase fertilizer from foreign companies on credit. We must pay interest on this. Most of the payment has been interest. We are suffering today as a result of the loans taken by the Rajapaksa government with no regard to interest.
Rajapaksa ආණ්ඩුව මේ ගැන තකන් නැතුව විශාල වශයෙන් ණය අරගෙන ඒ ගත්ත පොලිය තමයි අද අපිට දුක් විඳින්න වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. මේකේ කොතනකවත්
funds have not been allocated to subsidize fertilizer for tea, rubber and coconut.
It is under the Finance Ministry expenditure head for both the Agriculture and Plantation Industry Ministries. The allocation is the same. We have not reduced it by even a single rupee.
There is some special motive behind the move to include this in the Finance Ministry expenditure heads instead of the Agriculture Ministry.
If there is some motive, as you say, we will not allow that motive to be fulfilled. I guarantee it to you.
The SLFP committee appointed by the President to examine the COPE report on the alleged bond scam has recommended that the investigation into the matter can be expedited through the appointment of a Presidential Commission of Inquiry.
The COPE report is merely a report. If it is to be transformed into a legal document, then the officers of the law must summon the witnesses and record their statements, and then the Attorney General can act based on the merits. If we are to follow the procedure, then there's a problem regarding how long it will take. If a presidential commission is appointed, then evidence recorded there can be treated in line with the evidence audience. There can be cross-examination too. So a presidential commission would be ideal to swiftly resolve this problem. Meanwhile, at a media briefing convened today, the Anti-Corruption Front noted that the investigation into the bond scandal continues to be plagued by lethargy. They are investing the ill-gotten money they have earned within the country. Perpetual treasuries have commenced the process of money laundering. On the other hand, Arjun Aloysius has resigned from the company and is attempting to escape this. We must note that the continuous delay is creating a conducive environment for him to do this.
When
the joint opposition raises the issue of Arjun Mahendran, Ranil Wickremesinghe immediately says, yes, but we must also inquire into the hedging deal at the same time. He says the Greek bond scandal must also be investigated. What we see is that they are pointing out each other's wrongs and are attempting to reach a settlement. They are trying to balance it out, which is a very wrong trend. Therefore, we believe that justice will not be served in this case.
Yesterday,
the Monetary Board reached a decision. On the 4th of November, a letter was addressed to COPE. The letter has been recalled. In this letter, they had questioned the validity of the footnotes in the COPE report. At the Monetary Board meeting held last week, an order was obtained to investigate how EPF funds were spent in the bond scandal. At present, the individuals who represented the EPF in this large-scale fraud has resigned his position. If this person flees the country within the next 2 days and heads to Australia, we would not be surprised. It will be the same steps taken by the additional secretary who was involved in the Avantgarde incident.
මේ ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවට ගියොත් අපිට කිසිම පුදුම වෙන්න දෙයක් නැහැ අර මේ අවන්ගාඩ් සිද්ධියට සම්බන්ධ අතිරේක ලේකම්වරිය සිදු කරා වගේ මේ ඉඩම් නඩු අහනවා වගේ අවුරුදු 20 මේ දූෂණ
Corruption related cases cannot be heard over 20 to 30 years like land disputes. Thereby, a special court must be swiftly established and the law must be enforced speedily on the select cases of large-scale fraud and corruption. That is how justice can be served.
Representatives of the Voice Against Corruption movement visited the Police Financial Crimes Investigations Division to inquire into the progress on a complaint they had lodged.
Soon after the central bank bond scam, deputy governors and directors at the central bank increased their salaries by about 110%. While we're aware the theft was carried out, these accused officials are being bribed with money from the central bank.
Additional Solicitor General Sarath Jayamana assumed duties this morning as the Director General of the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption.
Sarath Jayamana was appointed as the new Director General of the Commission by the President to fill the vacancy that arose with the resignation of the former Director General. Jayamana has 28 years of experience in criminal law with the Attorney General's Department. An individual does not become a suspect or a convict simply by appearing before a commission. A suspect is determined only after the investigation is concluded or at a certain stage in the investigation. I hope to enforce the law as per the law book. I also hope to secure technical and scientific assistance.
Malik Samaravikrama, the Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade, convened a media briefing this morning to make clarifications regarding allegations levelled at him.
The bankrupt joint opposition has made an allegation to the Director General of the Bribery Commission that the Mahapola Trust has suffered a loss of 1 billion rupees. There is a total of about 10 billion rupees in the Mahapola Trust Fund at present. All the money has been deposited in banks. There are two companies under this. One is the NatWealth Securities Limited, which is a primary dealer, and the other is the NatWealth Corporation. The accusation is that 1 billion rupees was given to the private company NatWealth Corporation and that this has caused a major loss for the Mahapola Fund. That is a total lie. There is no truth to it whatsoever. At the same time, I will be immediately addressing a letter to the Director General of the Bribery Commission to immediately investigate this.
In more local news, a group of representatives of the joint opposition met with provincial councils and local government Minister Faizal Mustafa today.
The minister held a discussion with the group when they arrived to meet the chairman of the commission to hear appeals on delimitation. The group also met with the chairman of the commission to hear appeals on delimitation.
I can say clearly on the 15th of December, a complete report was submitted to Honourable Minister Faizal Mustafa at this ministry by the Delimitations Review Committee. From then, his responsibility spans 2 weeks. Minister Faizal Mustafa at this ministry has the ability to gazette the new borders of the 336 electorates by the end of this year. Thereby, there is no reason to postpone the election beyond the first quarter of next year.
Governor of the Southern Province, Hemakumar Nanayakkara, spoke on the importance of all lives at a briefing today.
I think we should have a day of lamenting and passing on merit to all dead people during the past 32 years of war period, irrespective of the religion, race or the creed or the caste. Sinhala soldiers died, Muslim soldiers died, Sinhala, Muslim, Tamil lay people, the ordinary citizens died, then the tiger who were in the tiger movement, they died. All these things are lives, valuable lives.
The Minister of Rehabilitation, Resettlement and Prison Reforms, D.M. Swaminathan, commented on the recently suspended interviews for the position of prison guards.
Reason for my suspending that, I have already told the Honorable Prime Minister about this, because there has been a certain amount of allegations, 2 or 3 members of Parliament who have told me this, that there were certain allegations of bribery. So I am not going to get involved with all this rubbish, and therefore for that reason, even when the finality of this documentation was done, the Commissioner General of Prisons should have at least notified me and inform me, because we were very keen about these appointments. We are not trying to do any political motivation in this, although the press is saying that this has been suspended for political reasons. It means not for political reasons. It's also because if there are allegations of bribery in this matter, the first interview is okay. So I'm not trying to intervene and not to have the first interview again. So we may have to do the second interview subject to the rules and regulations that are available under the law, and then comply with them and give the appointments correctly.
How does the regulation of prices of essential drugs take place in Sri Lanka? Dr. Asitha De Silva, the chairman of the National Medicine Regulatory Authority, elaborated on the matter appearing on the Newsline program today.
The primary objective of this is to make medicines more accessible to patients. I believe it's a core mission for any government to do that, and it's enshrined in the Millennium Development Goal. What we are set out to do is try and achieve that, to make medicines more accessible to our patients. We made a start with 48 medicines, as you know. There's what's called a principle of essentiality when it comes to medicines.
Right.
It's based on an essential medicines list for each country, based on its disease patterns and demographies and so on. So Sri Lanka has its list of essential medicines,
right,
which are considered essential for the well-being of its people.
Right.
So we selected 48 out of that, which are very commonly used for diseases like diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, epilepsy, diabetes, yes, epilepsy, neurological disorders,
right,
psychiatric issues, gastric acidity, very commonly used medicines.
And what about that most common medicine, paracetamol?
Yes, it is part of the 48 medicines.
It's part of that?
Yes. What this model has done, to the maximum retail price, the price of paracetamol has been fixed, the maximum price.
Right.
There can be prices lower than that, but the maximum 130 a tablet.
Right.
₹1.30.
Right.
So if you want to take a brand which is very widely used, it was selling at ₹3 a tablet, now it's come down to 130.
All right.
Some people might think it's negligible, it's paracetamol, but remember that when we have a fever, which is very common, paracetamol is taken 2 tablets 4 times a day.
Right.
So there is a significant cost involved if you do the mathematics. Yeah.
An individual was killed in a shooting in Pilavatta, Minuangoda this morning. At around 9:20 this morning, 2 people arrived on a motorcycle and opened fire at Susantha Pradeep, also known as Freddy. Gunshots were fired from this area. He started running after the first shot was fired. Then it seemed like they tried to shoot me and came towards me, but they turned around and left. We thought it was the police. They were wearing white helmets. Eyewitnesses said that the victim was chased by the shooters until he fell to the ground. Police investigators revealed that the victim was connected to several previous crimes. Meanwhile, Ambalangoda police have arrested a suspect in possession of an Italian-made revolver last night. Police said that they then have commenced investigations to determine as to whether the suspect and the weapon were connected to any previous crimes committed in Ambalangoda. Several incidents reported last week indicate a heightened circulation of firearms in society. 2 individuals were shot at by a group of people who arrived in a vehicle in Ankumbura area in Kandy last Sunday. One of the victims succumbed to his injuries. Another person reportedly shot himself as the police attempted to arrest him last Wednesday. On the 15th of this month, 2 policemen were shot at by a member of an underworld gang near a hotel in the Ratkarachi area along the Kurunegala-Putlam road. A sub-inspector was killed in the shooting.
Northern Provincial Councillor Vidhan Kanagaratnam testified today in the first evidence hearing of the case pertaining to an attack on a group of TNA supporters in Narandanai, Jaffna during the 2001 election. The case was presided over by Jaffna High Court Judge Manika Vasagar today. 2 people died and 20 others were injured following an attack which was launched at a number of members of the Tamil National Alliance on the 28th of November 2001. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Justice were ordered to engage in efforts to extradite the 2 suspects who are said to have fled the country. Charya Pinto.
And I'm Sandra Ferdinando. Take care.
All right, about 10 seconds away.